Everybody, welcome to the show. Christmas less than 180 days away. Holy moly. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, uh welcome to the back half of 2025. Cheers everybody. Good morning. Got my orange monster this morning. And first half of 2025 in the bag. Welcome, channel members Don, Mark, Gayton, Donald, Will, Jerry, Diane, Hugh, Ivan, Frank, Scott, David, Craig, Gary, Rob, Cliff, Terry, Ted. Welcome, everybody. Lieutenant Colonel Goose. Morning. Yeah, Q3 already. Holy moly. We've got earnings going to ramp up starting next week. Should be exciting. Should be exciting. And for some reason, my bottom bar is all hanging out here. Let's see if I can clear something. There we go. There we go. Look at where we stand for the year. Look at where we stand here. We go to 12-month charts. Not too. It's been a wild ride, but hey, we are up on the year right here. Look at that. Up on the year. Check it out. Go from the open. We're up about 5%. It's been a wild ride. Took a spill down almost, 20% correction down here. And we're right back up 5% for the year. Right on pace for the historical average. That's, when I talk about not betting against the markets, a lot of my strategies and stuff like that, I look at it and I'm like, I don't find statistics in the shorts because on average, when you look at the last long period of time in the market, the last 100 years, on average, we go up about 8% a year. And when you really look at that all the way back there, I mean, this is all the way back, all the way back. 1873. Look at this average move. There's not many red candles on here. Notably, we have this right here. And we should be careful. If we did this, we had another one right there. It's much smaller. We're doing this right here. Could have another one in here. So just look at the big picture, where we are. Been a long time since we had a big correction like that. Let's keep it in mind. Keep it in mind. So that's where we stand. And so mid-year update, take a moment, review what your performance was first half of the year. You've got 6 months to fix it, do something different, make a change. I kind of made a big change starting at month 4, right around tax time in the US here. I made a big change for me personally. I started the 50K challenge right here. As we can see, all time, pretty good numbers. Past year, pretty good numbers. It's getting to be pretty wild right here. Pretty wild numbers. So we'll see how this actually shakes out. And things can get pretty spicy. Pretty darn spicy in the back half. So nice profit numbers. They are, Canfo is trying to work out I guess they found some error in the Robinhood data feed. So yesterday, my trades all disappeared for a little while yesterday. Came back. The numbers on the profit changed. I don't know what's going on exactly. I did point out to them there's a few other things, like the logos aren't picking up on options trades. And I don't know. But bottom line, I've got pretty good profit numbers, as you can see here. Pretty darn good profit numbers. Looking at the 3 months since I started the challenge right here, tax week. Been a constant grind higher. Not too shabby. We've got one loss in there from the VIX. Bought a VIX call as protection, but risk a little to protect a lot and just keep grinding higher. So if you want access to that, links in the description. You can be a channel member, see the trades I got open. If you want every twist and turn I do along the way, I reserve that for Termite Trading Lab members. That link is also in the description. You can fill out the inquiry form, and I'll have one of my team members contact you when it's convenient for you. So anyway, has your profit been looking consistent like this? I made a change, and I plan to keep this going through the end of the year. I'm up already. Let's pull it up and look at the live. I'll look at the live number, read it off Robinhood for you. I'm up quite a bit on Rocket Lab. I've got 700 shares of Rocket Lab, up like $10 on those so far. The live number, since we started, I'm up 15% in that account. Not too bad. That's like just around just over $14,000 up total. So obviously have some open profit right there. Make sure that you have a plan. All right. I've been cautiously bullish this whole move up here. We are very likely to go hit this target. That doesn't mean we won't get a pullback first. We can do that. We can do that. This target right here, 63.45. It's very likely to get hit. We set up the weekly chart entry back a few weeks ago. Now, haven't traded this a lot over the years. Many times we get a secondary retrace. I've been waiting for that. Didn't do it. Breaking on out. Probably going up here. 63.45. That's the target for right now on that S&P 500. Now, that doesn't mean we won't get a pullback. That pullback could be substantial. We could see a pullback all the way down to here, 5,600. We could get a pullback all the way back to the roadmap line, 5,100, but still go up and hit that right there. 75% likely is likely to hit this before we break down below that right there. So the roadmap from here to here, not set in stone, but the fact of the matter is we're probably going to hit that target before we break down below this. That doesn't mean you can stay solvent that long. Doesn't mean you can afford to ride a big downturn, but upside target, very likely. Now, time frame, I kind of expect us to maybe hit that sooner rather than later. Sooner rather than later. We'll see what happens. Now, on the weekly chart here, S&P 500 has done this 15 times where we bounced off the weekly, set up the entry, and then gone higher every single time in the past. 100% win rate. Now, 15 is not a statistical population. You've been here before. You've been paying attention. You're with me. But 15 times in the past, we've bounced off of that line on the weekly chart. We've gone on to hit that upside target. Where does the 75% come from? It comes from the tens of thousands of trades I've tested over many time frames for this setup. So there you go. There you go. Alrighty. Yeah, you got $1,000. You should be careful with your money. Be very, very careful with your money. And looking at these charts, the S5TW, stocks above the 20-day. Looks like we're going back for another high. Wrap this on up. Now it can fail here and go down. We've already hit the top. The bottom is more likely than the top, but doesn't negate making another move or even a higher high. So nothing's set in stone, but the high probability is to get a big retrace. This is a giant market oscillator. We go from the top to the bottom, bottom to the top, top to the bottom. Stock's above their 20-day. That's the fastest moving average. We have the potential to eventually take a correction. We've got everything all set up right there. S5, FI, stock's above the 50-day, same conditions. We've topped out, potential to go revisit the bottom. Now, that doesn't mean we don't shoot up, make a higher high, touch that 90. Usually if we touch 90, we embark on a big correction pretty quickly in the market. That's why I have 80 and 90 marked on the S5FI. Stock's above their 200-day. Amazingly, even though we've been grinding high, all-time highs, only 53% of the S&P 500 companies are actually above their 200-day. Right here. Got somebody calling me. Anyway, so got to be careful out there. Obviously, this rally is not being participated in broadly. Last year, we had broad participation. We were up to 80% of the S&P 500 companies participating in the grind higher last year. This year, at the new high, only 53%. This is very much got to pick your winners right here. So, got to be careful. Got to be careful. I went through a whole list of potentially bullish trades yesterday. And if you missed that, the recording is there. I may hit on some of them again today. And look at the futures overnight. The grind higher. Continuing on. Just grinding, grinding, grinding. Right there at 4 o'clock, right, we closed the market. Spike. And we've been retracing ever since. So we got a first move down, got a retrace, and we hit the third move down. Potential bottoming out here. We can go higher from here, or we could embark on a bigger correction. 30-minute support right down here at 62.17 on the futures. Not far away. We might reach that. Might reach down for that right there. If we start below the 30-minute, you know, it's been as I've talked about it, we've been a couple weeks, I guess early last week, since we hit the 30-minute. So we may be needing to do that. The 1 hour, it's been since last week, early, since we hit the 1 hour. That's all the way down at 61.80. That'll be a support below the 30-minute roadmap line there. Moving on up to the daily charts, or the 4-hour chart. 4-hour support all the way down at 6,000. So if we start on a bigger correction, break down below the hourly, long way down to the 4-hour. Talking about 200 points down. Then the daily, significantly below that. Down at 5,800, another 200 points below the 4-hour. And of course, the weekly hasn't moved much since we hit it all the way back here in April. Hadn't really moved much. Still down around 5,000. So be careful out there. We have completed the 2007 pattern that could indicate a top back in 2007. Once we actually did the blow off, once we finished the blow off spike, it led to a 57% market correction. I warned that that might be possible here today. Also, technically, it's in the charts. Russell here. Been warning about this. We did make a slightly higher high. Doesn't really change anything. Just grind in this area. Potential for the bigger downside. That's why my protection right now in my 50K challenge account is a put spread. Put a little money to protect the account. little money at risk. Bought a 180, put right here. Sold a 150, put down here. If this dips, any kind of fast dip, cashing it out. We'll probably get a bounce, reload, and then go for the bigger downside. Now, could just get crazy and we just drop out. That's entirely possible too. So you watch the support lines just like we talked about on the S&P, starting with the 15-minute. We're down there hitting it this morning. Then you look at the 30-minute, right there at 212. The 1 hour, right down here at 211. So those two are stacked together. 4 hour, down here at 207. The daily, above the 4 hour at 209. So daily and 4 hour stacked together. That's weak support resistance right there when they're stacked together and they're flat. That creates a weak support resistance line that may slice right on through and continue down. Be careful. This is what I always talk about. Even with a downward bias, that daily chart worked out right there. That little trade hit that target, 217. So I've been talking about that, how even though the patterns haven't looked the greatest, that doesn't negate actually working out. Even though I'm not like, ooh, that chart looks super spicy. And I'm like, ooh, I don't like that chart. It doesn't keep them from working out. So then the weekly support down here at 200. And so they're all kind of grouped together right there. Russell hasn't really moved for a couple years. Not really. We topped out back here in 2021. We revisited that high right here in 2024. And we haven't really moved. Russell's been sideways for almost since the COVID recovery over here. So 85% of the country works in the Russell 2000. It's where a lot of the people work. So those companies, when everybody says, I'm not feeling the awesomeness, yeah, because this right here hadn't been going higher. It's just been grinding sideways for 3 years. Makes it tough. Oil, keep holding that support. Keep holding, keep holding, keep holding. This is a setup for another break higher. I was listening to some of my fellow gurus talk about how they don't think that oil is going to spike out, and they think this is irrational and doesn't make any sense. This is a measured bounce, and we can see this thing shoot right up here. It doesn't have to make sense. Like this, the charts are what makes sense, and that's what you got to watch out for. Called the Tesla dip. Yeah, I mean the charts are just the charts. Like this, it's not magic. So we're seeing gold push a little higher today. Normal. Watch for that 618 retrace. If we hold that support or hold that resistance, probably got more downside to go. This would look best to finish up this correction now. Right there's the 618 at roughly, I have to zoom it up. Can't read that. See, 33.92, so right below 3,400. We could push up into that 3,400 where we did that little consolidation. Watch for the downside. This thing can turn vicious on the next move because that'll be the third move. Whether it's a C wave or a wave 3, that next downside can get quick, can get fast and vicious. Bitcoin doing a pullback also. That got pretty spicy to the upside. We could see that retrace once again, hold that measured bounce, and set us up for the bigger upside. And index, Bitcoin. Yeah, probably gonna see a retrace off this. There's the high. We can see Bitcoin drop back in this zone right here. around 102 to 104,000 probably. If we do that, hold support, start back higher, get through the 618, probably going to break out and make a bigger move on that next move. So right now we've held this downtrend of highs. We might need a retrace before we can get the energy to break through. And if we back test, that's your last real opportunity before we probably skyrocket up into some target numbers. If we were to back test that breakout right there. Now we can top out anywhere above 120. We could probably top this move out. I expect to get up in the 150 to 170,000. That's my real big picture target, but this move could be considered complete off of the 2022 low, anywhere above 120,000. So we got to see what the price action looks like as we push higher. Ethereum has a nice upside potential. Don't see David A on here, but I know you're heavy into that. Oh man. Nice potential breakout, but not doing it so far. Turn it down off the roadmap line can push us lower. Be careful. NKD rejecting the breakout. Not what I wanted to see. Tried to break out and got slammed back down right there. Gotta watch. This can come back down. That puts downward pressure on the U.S. markets. Global liquidity. If you look at it, we're down today, and global liquidity indicating we've been down today. So is it possible to turn this around? Sure. But right now, back down to the bottom of the box. Looks very likely. The roadmap line here, been flat for months. Price action, been pretty flat for months. Couldn't maintain the breakouts. We've tried several times over the last several months. We've, tried right there, tried right there, tried right here, tried right there, tried right there twice, and tried right there. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attempts. Then we took a bigger spill. That's our first attempt after the bigger spill. We have to retrace. Last time we took it right back to the bottom of the box. So if we can hold something higher and go again, maybe we could do a breakout. Global liquidity, take us higher for the blow off top in the market. Look at the dollar. That continuing its grind lower. As I mentioned, we may retest this trend line. If we get below this trend line, it could take us on down to the low 90s. Right there. That was kind of a flip point. We back tested, went higher. And we've come back to test it again. If we push below it, down to the low 90s. Take this entire pop in 21, 22. Take that entire move back. Come revisit the low. Build support. Then possibly go higher. The path for the dollar is likely got to rally up into this 120 to 130,000, 120, 130 dollar zone for the dollar index right there. Look at the Mag 7s. Apple being positive today after the breakout yesterday. Broke out of the triangle. It's kind of funny. The market's down, but Apple's actually up. Apple has resistance right there at 212, 213 area. And then right up here at this 225 area. Don't really expect it to get through that. Although we may rally right up there. It's kind of a flight to safety thing, I think. And that could lead to the bigger correction. So Apple, bigger picture, not very bullish right now. Right now we've got this high, and we're going to have to push through it to get up to that higher 225 area. So we've got this high in place right now, right there, around 212, 213. I'm not very bullish on Apple. Amazon, Prime Day coming up. Prime Day has not historically moved the stock a lot. At least it used to when they announced how they did. The last couple Prime Days, they haven't announced their sales or very little details about it. They used to brag on it and juice the stock, but lately haven't done that much. And likely to come down here, 150 area. I guess since Bezos let somebody else be the CEO, haven't really done things the same way. Jeff Bezos sold 25 million Amazon shares for about 5.4 billion on his wedding day, representing the 3% of his total sale. I'd love to be able to sell $5.4 billion. Well, how about you? Anyway, Google topping out right here. Kind of a double top situation. Right at that 618 resistance. Watch for the breakdown below this uptrend of lows. That can lead to the bigger downside, down around 120. Meta went for the breakouts, got rejected. Watch for the bigger retrace that can take hold very quickly. Microsoft, ooh, got close. I don't know if it's log mode or not log mode. I typically go on log mode, and I think Microsoft can grind it on higher to 508. But we could be topped out, so be careful. If you're long Microsoft, watch for the retrace. When we do, you want to hold that breakout level at 468. If we get below that, probably come down for the roadmap line. If we get below that, we could come down pretty viciously again. NVIDIA, highly likely we're going to extend that on up to 164. Haven't gotten there yet. Tesla, Salah. Oh, right down. Reaching on down, reaching on down. Yeah, probably going to reach on down to this level right in here. We could hold a higher low. That's possible. A retrace down to 276 would be what I expect. That's what I expect. And they should be announcing how many cars they sold in the second quarter. And it's likely to be somewhat disappointing. Musk will oversee Tesla's US sales after Ashfar quit. And they've got a lot of things that are getting, the robo launch and the automatic, delivery and all sorts of things coming together here. It's been a long time in the planning, so this can all of a sudden turn very bullish. Be careful out there. But against this one, chart pattern though shows the bigger correction. Still possible. Still possible. All right, I go pull gainers. That's everything moving up $2 or more in the market, in the pre-market. I look at the decliners, things moving down $2 or more. And then I also have some setups we'll talk about before we wrap this thing up today. At 11 o'clock, they're doing a new show called The Profit Panel. I'll be live at 11 o'clock on Zoom. And you can come hang out if you want to. Probably talk more general about markets. I have some other people on there with me. I think Jack Carter's on there today. Guy named Alex Reed. I haven't ever met him before, so it should be interesting. Bitmine Immersion Technologies. Gap down, gap up. Choppy charts. No roadmap line. Can't really tell much about it. BGLC. Looks like a nasty chart with a reverse split. Danger, danger, danger. Stay the fudge away. Likely to come back down. Short seller's dream right there. QBTX. 2x on quantum computing stock QBTS. Probably coming back down. I was reading an article last night about how AI and quantum computing, we're going to have to update all the traditional encryption algorithms by 2030, because that's when they suspect that we'll have quantum computers that could possibly be capable of cracking encryption. So we'll have to change our encryption algorithms. That's pretty widespread, but we've done updates along the way. So some of the older operating systems won't even support that. I say Windows 10 will probably not even, which is what I'm using right now. Windows 10 will probably not even get updated to support the new encryption standards. And Windows 11 may not even. So we'll see. Got to make quantum computing proof encryption algorithms. That'll be a whole different thing. So over the next 5 years, we'll probably see that kind of stuff roll out. You know, we had NVIDIA had Jensen come out recently and say that he expected it to be more like 10 or 20 years before it's really practically applicable. But we could see general encryption, you know, with a well-funded individual be able to be broken by 2030 possibly. So if you're into that kind of thing, I've had a fascination with encryption for a long time. So another reverse split on that one. Another dumpster fire pile of garbage. Wynn Resorts. Looking for that to break out right here. If we do the breakout, we could see large upside 160. GDXU. Kind of hanging. Probably likely to retrace to the roadmap line. Along with GLD. Likely to retrace to the roadmap line. RKLX. Which is 2x on Rocket Lab. Let's go look at Rocket Lab. Oh, baby. Expecting this to grind on up to this 41 resistance. We could go shoot on up. I mean, it could take that'd be a wild ride, but 41 next upside right there. Could retrace it and then shoot up to the 55 area. I'll take 55. I mean, I bought at 25, so we got $30 upside on 700 shares. 700 shares, $30. Not bad. Be 0, 0, 0, 21. 21,000 bucks plus all the options I've sold along the way. That's in this count right here. Get me well on the way. Ching. Love it. So I'm aggressively trying to sell a 44 call against my shares. I'd sell for 44 right now. Of course, I'll just let the market tell me what it's going to do. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful potential there. DJT, the longer this grinds right here, the bigger the potential for our next pop. I have 1,100 shares in this one. I have an 1850 call sold against it for the 3rd, which is Thursday. Remember, the market closes on Thursday this week. So I guess before I talk too much trades, all trading involves substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining. Not a recommendation to be buying or selling any stock, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries. You might lose money doing that stuff we do called trading. If you desire personal financial advice, hire and consult a financial advisor. Remember, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not even telling you how to make money. I'm just showing you what I do. My own account. So I have 1,100 shares right here. This has potential to come up here. Right up there. Now, is it going to do it? I don't know. That'd be like a 3xer. I like 300%. I don't know about you. 300% profits. I'll take it. I'll take it for sure. I mean, that'd be $40 move, 1,100 shares. It's like a $40,000, $44,000 potential. It's about putting yourself at the right place at the right time. That's how you get lucky, all right? Sometimes I get lucky. Other ones I like. I mean, this one, Merck, got $80 sold on the upside. Nice little triangle forming there. Could pop very quickly up to the roadmap line. Only have a couple hundred shares here. Other ones that I like that are pretty bullish, Docu. Right here. Nice upside potential to 115. I like it. Nike has big upside potential. This has got resistance coming up right up here at this zone. If we can push through it, Nike could be heading way up, substantially higher. Right there. DAL. We came up shy of the full retrace here. We break back above that roadmap line. We have this little, similar to other stocks, we have this little downtrend of highs going. Break through it. Can lead to a much bigger upside. UAL. Similar, but not the same pattern going on here. This was a higher high. We break out above that 618 there. Can set that up for 130 on UAL. I like those DAL, UAL. It's not a universal airline thing. We look at American. This one looks nasty. Might actually have downside here. This could actually push lower. Trying to remember. All right, A-OK. This one I'm not sure about. This chart. We did the breakout, but we didn't hold the back test. And we actually went lower and then back tested from below. That sets it up for a potential downside. So something that was pretty bullish turning out to not be so bullish. So we got American and Alaskan not looking so bullish. We've got Delta, United looking pretty bullish. So, like I said, mixed. You got to be careful. Pick your winners. That's back to when we look at the S5TH. We've got 50% performing, 50% not performing right there. Dun, 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 dun. Goes on back down. So that's kind of my tour around some of the bullish ideas I have. MSM. I bought stuff from these guys. These guys make tooling, wholesale distributing. Or I guess they sell tooling. See that retrace? That just looks choppy. Not really breaking out despite the pop today. Circle. Probably not gonna do the pop now. Looks like this one's played out for now. Probably gonna come back down to 100 and could go lower low down here. Nugget. Potential for that to come on down. JNUG. Same. Shiny. Same. TSDD. 2x short on Tesla. Popping today, but be careful. If Tesla finds the bottom, this will probably drop out. PALL. Palladium. Hovering right here. If we can muster the breakouts. If we can muster the next leg higher. So there's opportunity to get into this one at 101. If you think this can push higher and catch up to platinum. Platinum still has pretty fair upside to go to. So far, retraced, holding that breakout line there. Setting this baby up for that push to 160. Very nice. LVS. So we're seeing win up here on the list. LVS also showing some strength. Potential to hold that higher low. Potential this correction is done. I don't know. All the proportions are good. Check this out. Excuse me. The next move on this could take LVS up here if we can break out through that 55 resistance. If you want to bet on it now, it's a risky entry. If we start breaking back below the roadmap line, I'd bail. Might have resistance here that causes it to retrace, but that could be the upside at 110. Not bad. VVOS, not touching it. Medical stuff. AEM. Watch for the retrace to the roadmap line. Decliners, AVAV. Hit the target. Watch for the retrace. It can be pretty violent. Roadmap line is significantly down here. Just back to the breakout. 233. It's about a $33 downside. ASML. Still trying to grind through this, all this resistance we built up. Could have significant upside to 1200, but just not showing the strength yet. May need a significant retrace back down into supports before we can get the bounce going on ASML. PODD. Hit targets. Watch for the retrace. Coin. Retraced back to the breakout. Like I said, Bitcoin's going to be soft. Be careful out there. This looks primed for that bigger pop. Now, this is a giant long-term breakout. 396, 442. Possible to even rally on up here. 615, 850. Those are possible. Probably not going to happen super fast. It's probably going to take Bitcoin rallying up into the 150, 170,000 to get there. MSTR. As I've talked about, this is grinding in this area. That fooled a few people. That can still set up the downside. Retrace to the roadmap line right there. LEU. We were at targets. Watch for the retrace back to the roadmap line. PTIRs, just PLTR. DXCM, just chopping sideways at resistance. Still lower high. Gonna have to break through this stuff to indicate we're going higher. Flutter Entertainment. Choppy hot mess here. We've set this up to potentially going up to 316, but that could be, since that first move down was a 5-wave type structure right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That could be a first move down, a retrace, and a next move down. I would be cautious on that one. App loving. The news last night. I saw this. Hilarious. Still has the downside potential here. First move down, second move down. Potential come back down here to 200. ETHU. Chopping around. AMD. Probably going to come back to 100, 115. AVGO. That hit targets. Jody, watch out. Probably likely to see that retrace. I think you still have AVGO. Probably topping out here. We could hold the breakout at 252 and push higher, but this can definitely go on a bigger retrace at this point. XXRP. Let's just take a look at XRP USD. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. That's working on a triangle of some sort. Snow. Dun, 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 dun. Upside right there. I'm down to just I sold out the call. Like, this was the target for the call. I sold it out. I have just the share that I bought. Just one share. Bought one share down here at 100. I guess 110. So it's up 100%. Next upside right there around 260. We've talked about that for months and months. don't have a big position anymore, but you know, 100%, that's not bad. Connell. Got to control your risk and your profit. You know, it's uncertain markets here. So Connell looking for that to outperform, but struggling here at the 618. Maybe that's what's putting the downward pressure on coin is the leverage chart. If we can actually break on through, 107 could be the upside on Connell. SOXX up into the resistance. ETHT retracing XLY. Has the potential. Push on up. Consumer discretionaries. If we do the big blow off in the market, that could rally up to 251 up there. But we also have a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. Retrace into resistance. That could be first move down. Retrace. Second move down. Lower low. Be careful out there. That's a dangerous potential pattern. Although it could be 5 down, 5 up, which is a confusing pattern at best. Breaking through this support right here would be an indication we're going lower. Bioscience with a reverse split. Danger, danger, danger. Probably coming back down. Dumpster fire. Price action. PRGS. More choppy. Couldn't maintain the breakout. Lower high breakout. Not great. Solana ETF. Solana might perform. I mean, if you want to get exposure, could be a great time to do it. If you believe Solana's going to perform, I'll talk more about it on Friday, 4th of July. I'll do a crypto special. Solana has this beautiful measured bounce type retrace right here. With a potential to rock and roll right there. MU. Potential support right here. If we're going to retrace, we did turn down off of that gap. Got to get on through the gap to go on to higher prices. I am long MUU. Looking for this thing to explode on higher. Could come back, retest. Now, leverage stuff, be careful. Charts don't always follow the leverage. Also, a reminder, coming up at 5 p.m. today, 30 minutes of awesome. Haven't had many people showing up for that, so hard to do a request show if nobody shows up and makes requests. Remember, if you're a channel member, you get priority request access. So, TXYZ, more sideways, we break down, could go first move down, second move down. TSLT, all these Tesla longs up here on the chart today. Setups, things that actually have a setup for potential entry today. This one already in it from back here. Have a smaller swing in there right there. Potential to go up to 61. GIL. There's the entry right there. Small little baby swing. Same pattern inside. We've got the big swing and we've got the small swing. 5170 on the upside. Oh, that's the same list as yesterday. Looks like. ISRG. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thought there were 6. Let me see. Should have been 6. Jump over here. Grab the daily list. Boom, boom, boom. What was the list today? Yeah, right list. MSTR was the other one that's on the list. So that's the one I'm missing. That did not have a bounce. So I'm not sure why that one picked up. Weird. Because it's the difference between the scientific calculation and the not scientific. Anyway, PRI. This one entered back here. High, here's the low. looking for 306. And then we have the sub pattern right there with a 284 target on it. Not the best statistics. None of these look like super spicy, like I want to get involved in right here. So that's why I'm like, $8 in the upside there. Not great statistics. So even though we're getting a few showing up here, no great opportunities really showing up. Now I'm still in MCD. I didn't stop out. It did stop out, but I'm still in it. Still expecting this to rally back higher. PGR. Still in this one. This one did not stop out. Still expecting that to rally higher to 300. And WC. That one. Still in this one. Hasn't stopped out. Still expecting the 112 on this one. Any of those could be ones you could get in. They could take 6 months to work out. So got to be careful. Where you put your money, what you put your risk on. As always. Pattern works the same, no matter the time frame. Bias for the day? Well, I still expect we're going higher. Like, watch the retraces to small time frame support, but probably going higher. 63.45 before we break below the low from back in April. The big range. Upward bias. So cautiously bullish. You know, you gotta make your picks. That's what this chart right here is telling us. Gotta make your picks because only 53% of S&P 500 companies are participating in this rally. In the TH, 69% of NASDAQ stocks. I don't know how you get a 0.3 on something that has 100 stocks, but hey, whatever. Only 69% of the NASDAQ stocks participating. It still leaves 30% not participating. So even in the big tech, the winners, we're seeing 30% of those not participate in this rally higher. It's interesting top of the market. Gives me caution, great caution. Now we can't look back 100 years and see how these topped out. NASDAQ didn't exist, and S&P, the number of S&P stocks, that index didn't exist back there in the Great Depression, so I can't really show you what happened back there. But be careful out there. The account you save may be your own. I'll be back again later on today. Like I said, we've got the profit panel at 11. I'll throw links into Discord. I think there's already a link on my Telegram thing if you watch that, or at least that's what everybody says. And yeah, 30 minutes of awesome, 5 p.m. right here on YouTube, free for all. Have a great day, everybody. We'll be back. Yeah, there are times when I feel much more like Rocket Lab. I'm pretty certain we're going higher on Rocket Lab. Like certain markets, I'm pretty. I mean, it's kind of like overall general markets. Anything can happen. Always possible, right? There's high probability, and then I'm fairly certain we're going to rally to that 63.45. Now, how we get there, I don't know. Fairly certain we're going to do that. So, fairly certain. That doesn't negate, a big retrace, but fairly certain we're going to hit that before we break below that low. So certainty's all like, like opinions are like a-holes, everybody's got one. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. We'll see you again on all the different things I do. 5 p.m. Come hang out with me.